Welcome to PAC's 2022 Forum Conference. And now, John Gallardo, Associate at Osage Venture Partners.
Good morning, everyone. It's time to kick off the conference. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So I'm really excited to introduce the highly anticipated demo world. By way of introduction, my name is John Gallardo. I'm an associate at Osage Venture Partners. Osage is an early-stage venture capital firm based in Philadelphia, as well as a longtime and proud PAC sponsor. Osage has been investing in cutting-edge B2B software companies since our firm's inception in 2005. We are now investing out of our fourth fund and making $1 to $5 million investments in seed and Series A rounds. We've been privileged to partner with some of the region's leading companies and look forward to meeting the next generation of leading companies today. So with that, let's get started with the demo world. This morning, you'll be hearing from 11 fantastic companies, each of which will be pitching for 4 minutes, followed by 2 minutes of Q&A from our fantastic panel of judges. These judges include Dan Koval from Bentley Systems, Betsy Raff from Bank of America, and Zach Strauss, an investor at Mission OG. The judges will meet later today to select the best in show, which will be announced at 3:45. And before then, be sure to check out some live product demos between 10 a.m. to 3:45. So that's my quick pitch, and let's get started.
Ethan Berg, co-founder and CEO, Agora World.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Ethan Berg. I am the founder and CEO of Agora World, and our mission is to democratize the metaverse. So I know that's a loaded term right now, right? The metaverse. It's the technology that has promised to connect us through virtual immersive experiences. And these kind of experiences would feel just like it does today, where we can walk up to each other, we can shake hands, we can look face to face, eye to eye, and have that presence, just like we would in person. And the problem with today's metaverse, right, is despite all of this hype, not many people have actually experienced or built inside the metaverse. And that's because the barriers to entry are extremely high. Most people don't have access to the technology that it's used on. And when it comes to the tool sets, you need to know coding. I'm a no-code founder, so I have had trouble over the past 2 years building my own experiences. And I felt powerless using other tools. And that's why our mission is to lower the barrier to entry by offering a platform that is accessible on everyday devices. It is built using no code, so you do not need to know coding in order to create experiences, and it's at the price level that you can actually build. Our customers have called us the Wix for 3D, as we're trying to really lower this barrier and get everyone involved. So we've done a ton of stuff together. We've done a bunch of different things inside of the tech and arts community. We've done panel events, conferences, educational metaverses. Temple University is running a class on our platform this semester. We've done events with Independence Blue Cross, and so much more. But I think the most exciting thing is how we're bridging the gap between the digital and physical world. So one of our customers is Pat Steaks, and we're working with them to create a digital twin of their physical restaurant. They have a cheesesteak museum, so you can learn about the history since they invented it. It's got real-time social interaction, so you see other people there. And the best part is that when you actually place an order, it will deliver directly to your door, physical item, through Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever your traditional method of ordering is. So it really allows for the virtual world to intersect with the real world. And we've done all of this with no marketing. Everything has been referrals. So we've done 83 unique events in the past year, over 1,000 unique attendees that have come to our platform with over an average of an hour time spent per session. And we did win the Be Your Own Boss Bowl for Temple University last week. So our ecosystem has best-in-class creation tools and content. We've got the no-code builder tool with templates so you can fill in slots with your custom items, and you can also build from scratch or upload your own world so that it's fully customizable, extend it using plugins, creator marketplace, peer-to-peer, so you can buy from creators, as well as mini games and so much more. So the way that we're getting into the market out of everything we've done, the stickiest things were events, education, and businesses. And the way we plan on obtaining that is by partnering with digital marketing agencies, web agencies, who already have the trust of these organizations and give them a new revenue stream. Right now, the way we make money is through subscription. So the larger your community, the more servers you need, the more it costs, the more people there at a time. We also make money through custom development, transaction fees, microtransactions, and digital merch, as well as our white label service. We're expecting to grow substantially, same as the market, over the course of the next decade, expecting to grow to about 100,000 paying subscribers and way more users by the end of 2026. None of it would be possible without our team. My CTO has created experiences. He's written books, taught courses, and written curriculums on this subject. Our community director is from Princeton Blockchain, and our development team has over 30 years of development experience in every single language. Right now we're in private beta. We're launching this summer, which is really exciting. And then from there, the goal is to continue lowering the barrier to entry and opening the community. And to do that, we're raising $3 million to build that product and community. Most of that money is going directly towards core development, as well as extending our product through facilitating our creator economy. Thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you so much. I guess my first question is, it looks like it's super innovative and super new and really interesting. What sorts of, I guess, translation to other languages are going to be available? Is that in the timeline as well? Because it looks like you have a very available large user base. And so obviously not everyone speaks English. So what sorts of other languages are coming behind?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I guess English is kind of the most commonly known language. So we have had groups we've had 6 continents that have used our platform at once. But we do plan on having auto translation so that me and you, if you spoke Japanese, I speak English. I imagine a world where we could speak to one another and we'd hear the language that we desire so that there's zero barrier.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you again for explaining. I thought it was very helpful. I guess I'm not so familiar with companies that you might be selling to or events, resources they have to build. So what type of resources and, I guess, assistance would you provide on your end to aid your clients in achieving their goals and putting together a virtual event?
Yeah, so if someone wants to use our no-code customization tool on templates, I send them a 5-minute training video. That's it, literally. We've had minimal conversation past that, other than helping people with more of like the user experience and the design of the space, because obviously you have to design with purpose, and not everyone understands that when it comes to a physical environment, so you've got to kind of weed that in a little bit.
Great, thank you.
I guess one last question. Thank you again. This was excellent, extremely visual, and the Pat Stakes was very tangible, which is wonderful. Is that something that is like, if they're buying a subscription, is that a repeat, or was that for like one event, or is that, they're on their, people are purchasing through that all the time?
Yeah, so there was a one-time customization fee to rebuild the digital environment, and then on top of that, the subscription is about $24 a month to start for up to 20 people at 1 second, and that can be at any given moment, so as long as you don't breach that limit, but the longer they have their experience, it's month to month, so our customers that run events typically run 3 to 4 during the course of a month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks for your time.
Of course.
Brandon Graham, co-founder and CEO, ARC Aeronautics.
All right, good morning, everybody. Just waiting for the timer to start here. Okay, great. Good morning, I'm Brandon Graham, CEO and co-founder at ARC Aeronautics. We connect first responders to life-saving 911 information to help them arrive on scene faster, make accelerated, informed decisions that protect their lives while they're busy saving yours. Every adult in America dials 911 at least once a year on average. That's 700,000 phone calls a day, 911 calls a day, every 8 seconds. For qualified emergencies, it takes between 6 and 12 minutes for help to arrive. And in many cases, seconds mean the difference between life and death. A recent FCC study found that reducing the national average response time by just 6%, that's a 60-second reduction, would save 10,000 lives in the US alone every year. First responders are real-life superheroes, but the tools they have to collect, consume, and share information are fundamentally broken. Leaving them with stale data, partial solutions, manual radio communication, decision fatigue, and no common operating picture. Responders need their information to be 5 things. It needs to be accurate, rapidly accessible, easy to understand, easy to share, and they need it all in one place. ARC is a situational intelligence platform that aggregates, organizes, and activates existing 911 information like real-time alerts from dispatch, responder status, vehicle locations, nearest hydrants, building floor plans, even weather conditions on scene the moment a 911 call is dispatched. When a call goes out, ARC Mobile notifies responders directly via their cell phone or tablet and shares a customized incident dashboard based on their user profile and the type of incident, making the most critical information available and relevant at a glance, putting them on scene digitally before they arrive. To date, we've done 1,500 calls. We're currently onboarding our first county-wide deployment, and instead of 25 plus, that should say 47 fire stations. That's 1,400 users in just one county-wide rollout alone. Now, this is a multi-billion-dollar market today for situational intelligence platforms, and it's growing. Our customers are well-defined, visible, and approachable. Our initial targets are the 5,000 medium-sized volunteer fire departments across the 150 counties in a 5-hour drive from Philadelphia. This is absolutely a dual-use technology opportunity with defense and commercial industrial applications down the road. A little bit about the team. I'm a recovering engineer with an MBA and a focus in tech commercialization. I've spent the past 5 years in private equity while building ARC. And Sherman, our CTO, the second guy there, he's a third-generation firefighter, and he literally lives the problems we're solving every day. He's on duty right now at Salem Nuclear Power Plant. We've assembled a hands-on board of investors, advisors, and key opinion leaders from across the country with decades of combined experience in public safety, government sales, and scaling businesses. Chief Nelson Wiest at the top left there recently joined our advisory board. He's wrapping up a 30-year career in the fire service and is the president of the New Jersey Career Fire Chiefs Association. Just to wrap up, our target customers buy from people they trust, and they trust who they know. So we plan on building trust with our customers by partnering with KOLs, attending conferences, setting up distribution agreements with established resellers, growing our online presence, and through reverse channels like AT&T's FirstNet Marketplace. To scale quickly, we're targeting county-wide emergency management offices for an average contract value of $100,000 at a 4 to 6 month sales cycle at scale. But our end game is to make ARC free to every first responder in America. That's 3 million police, EMS, and firefighters by following the Rapid SOS 911 data clearinghouse business model, where they were able to shift from county and statewide GSA contracts to corporate partnerships with insurance companies and health networks that allowed them to make that free for every public safety answering point in America. So that's our business in a nutshell, and I'm happy to take questions.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
I love the idea of it being free at the end. Thank you for that.
Got to get there first.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
It's in the plan. It's the first step. I guess my one question is in terms of like onboarding new stations and their firefighters, what's it look like for them? I live in Chester County, so some of the folks here do have some messaging apps and stuff like that. What's the transition? How does it feel and look compared to other things that are already in the market?
Yeah, so fire departments own their data, so they can export it from their existing digital solutions. Most fire departments have their MUA data, which is actually the fire hydrant locations and FDCs and things. So I would say 90% of the time already have that database, but we've made it very easy for them to onboard manual assets. And we also have, I didn't go into detail in the technology, but on day one, when a department starts, we go out and search things like Mod 4 data, which is like your parcels, and if it's a 2-story single-family dwelling. So just as an example, in Glassboro, there's 7,600 addresses, commercial and residential. On day one, we gave them an incident pre-plan for every single commercial residential address. So that was a huge win, competitive advantage.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
No, this is excellent. Obviously, it's a critical component of helping our emergency system. How have you been working with the hospital, like sort of the end user, and not the end user, but getting the patient or whoever to the? It's one thing thinking about the fire stations,
yeah.
and those, but right now healthcare and hospitals are really under a lot of stress.
This is such a big problem to address. We focused really, really deep into the fire service first.
Okay.
But this is absolutely a BLS, ALS application. I was just talking to Lisa over there about integrating with hospital networks to tell them patient details and things, but we need to be HIPAA compliant to do that. So phased rollout approach, need to get our revenue set and then build on that kind of thing, but in the pipeline for sure.
That's great.
Great. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for the questions.
Amit Parmar, CEO and co-founder, Clickify.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Amit Parmar. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Clickify, a B2B social media recruitment SaaS. In my 16 years of recruiting experience for large enterprises, I learned among many things, one key thing. Recruiting talented people is expensive, time-consuming, and not easy. It's no longer enough to just rely on candidate data. So it's no longer enough just to post jobs and hope that candidates will apply. Each year, employers spend about $2.9 billion on job ads, on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and so on, with only 7% of candidates actually responding to job ads. So it's frankly a waste of money, and the ROI is very low. So why is this the case? Well, candidate behavior has shifted, and recruiting practices are just catching up. 3 out of 4 people will research your company's reputation before applying, and 9 out of 10 of them will network on social media to help them learn about your company and their next job. They trust what your employees and hiring managers have to say about your company on social media 3 times more than any company-sponsored ad. So branding and recruiting teams understand this, but they're too stretched and unable to support the narrative across thousands of employees, often a team of 1 or 2 in large enterprises. They need an easy solution to scale, and that's where Clickify comes in. So with Clickify, stretched branding departments and recruiting departments, often a team of 1 to 2 per 1,000 employees, they can create branded templates and share across their user base, hiring managers, employees, and so on. For the first time, users can now actually access content that they don't feel scared about sharing on social media for recruiting purposes. And they can publish across social media channels with help from our AI platform. Within our platform is the AI called Clio, where the AI assistant will actually help tell the story for the recruiter and the hiring manager who's actually ready to post. That's the biggest barrier today, is even with content that's provided, a lot of times people don't know actually what to write in the post. So we actually have an AI assistant that helps with that. We have real-time analytics. So for the first time, enterprises can actually tell who their biggest fans are across the enterprise as it relates to the content performance, as well as who is actually driving the most level of social engagement to drive traffic to your jobs. So we've been growing tremendously, and I'm glad this slide's working because we have some amazing logos that we've picked up. We've just been live 18 months, and we're growing like wildfire. And these are corporate accounts. So these are not like, one Wawa store here and there. This is the global agreement that we have with national as well as global agreements we have with these enterprises. So hard ROI, and that's what recruiting heads and CHROs and marketing heads care about. We're essentially faster, better, and cheaper. We're driving 6 minutes per post versus days or maybe no post in many cases. We're driving about 15x more candidate engagement versus paid ads. And ultimately, it's are you driving any savings for the company? We're about 3x less expensive at the moment versus sponsored ads that companies are spending $2.9 billion a year on average. Right? Here's some client reviews that we've gotten on TrustRadius and Capterra. These are unsolicited feedbacks that we've received. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, this was a pain point I had as a talent leader, as a recruiting leader, ex-IBM, Deloitte, and most recently I was a VP of Talent and Diversity at Unisys. And of course, my co-founder here, Mohit, our Chief Technology Officer, just an amazing person here to drive the product development. And that's it. Sorry about that, the slides didn't come through.
Thank you so much. In terms of the user use, because I could definitely see a lot of application to this, if my company were to use this and I were to share it on my personal social media, does the outside world know about it? Like I would want it to look like it's my content as the individual user. Is there anything on the post that shows that it's Clickify, that is noticeable to the outside world that, hey, my company's using some platform that I'm leveraging?
Great question. So brand is of course, very important to a lot of these enterprise logos that I shared. Mm-hmm. So we're a private label service at the moment.
That's awesome. Great.
In your sales process, are you typically displacing a legacy solution, or are you coming in as a new provider? And how do you see legacy solutions, if you're displacing them, responding to this new innovation?
Well, great question again. So yeah, we actually have a client, a major resort. I'm not able to share their name at the moment, but they actually took money away from Indeed to fund Clickify this year.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and building off that, again, excellent. Clearly there's a need, especially in this environment of labor shortages and people looking to place new jobs. Are you working mostly with HR partners? Obviously that was your role. And then is there, I know we're coming up on time, but is there, as they're going through their vetting process of interviews, is there a real point for them to reshape the role? I mean, because that is a huge part of recruiting people, is what's your talent pool, and then is the job right for, are the candidates right for the job?
Yeah, so a couple of ways to look at that. So if I understood the question correctly, there is a whole segment within HR that is called employer branding that's popping up now, right? Normally the CMOs, frankly, they get measured on MQLs, right? Marketing qualified leads. They don't get measured on how many candidates they're bringing in the door. So there's this wedge that we have been able to succeed with so far is, hey, CMO, you don't need to worry about recruiting. Here's a tool or solution that your HR team can partner with marketing on to scale, essentially. Right? Was that your question?
No, it's great. Yeah, it's more just the partnership with HR, which I think is the human piece versus bringing in the candidates. So that's all.
Yeah, the candidate quality is interesting. So there's tons of data out there. That your highest quality comes from your network, and that's essentially what we're tapping into.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure, thanks. Again, sorry about the slides. We'll fix that next time.
Tim Coulter, President and COO, Dina.
Good morning, everybody. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this. All right, well, my name's Tim Coulter. I'm the president for Dina, and I represent a wonderful group of investors, employees, and customers that are all focused on a vision of trying to really reshape the way that healthcare is delivered in a home-based setting. Wanted to point out a few of the folks that we have here. Osage is one of our most committed investors that we have, as well as local groups here, such as Jefferson Health and Beata Home Health, Redeemer Health here locally, are all customers of ours. And we're really excited to represent those folks, as well as the employees that we have that are committed to this vision of transforming healthcare's transition to home-centered care. Many of us that are involved in this journey have had the experience of trying to arrange services for folks that are meaningful in our lives, such as our parents, loved ones, who are trying to get care at home or are trying to age at home. This is something that has been a personal struggle of mine, as well as for our founders, that we have tried to really figure out how do we arrange services that are needed to enable people to age at home or to be able to receive care at home. We have seen that there's a lot of different headwinds that are contributing not only to this desire. 90% of adults want to receive care at home or want to be able to age at home, but we also now see that there's a lot of regulations that are starting to swirl. You see that we have health systems and payers that are incentivized around trying to make sure that value-based arrangements are happening. We see that JVs or joint ventures are starting to take place between hospitals and home-based providers, such as Bayada here locally. And you also see that a lot of retailers, such as Walgreens or Walmart, are trying to get into this ability to be able to extend the reach of a hospital into a home-based setting. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic made it so that it wasn't just folks that were aging at home that wanted to be able to receive care, but all of us want to be able to have the option to receive care at home. So we've created a care logistics platform that we call Care Traffic Control that allows providers of all different types to be able to arrange and service people's needs in a home-based setting. We do this by transitioning patients out of hospitals, arranging home health, DME, home care, allowing for providers to all have a common platform to be able to arrange the logistics of supporting care at home. By doing this, we're creating one of the fastest growing care at home networks that's not limited to just a single provider type. Increasingly, things such as social determinants of health are important to be able to receive care at home. And so what we're doing is uniting home-based providers, people like Meals on Wheels, hospitals, social workers, all the folks that are involved in supporting care for an aging population or for folks that have chronic illnesses at home with our care at home network. And we now have a footprint over the entire United States with folks that are using our platform. What this looks like for people is that we have this ability to use unique data types that we can capture from a home-based setting. There's different types of assessments that take place. There's EMRs, electronic medical record data that we get using some of the newest standards like Smart on Fire to be able to collect this data and then put our AI capabilities to work to be able to help facilitate the logistics of receiving care at home as well. So you can look at how we can remotely engage patients based on this data, based on our workflow tools, and based on being able to pull providers of all different kinds together. Since I have 30 seconds left, I'll skip over that typical journey, but who we serve large Medicare Advantage payers such as Health First in New York City. We serve locally here, Holy Redeemer, that's now Redeemer Health. We have Jefferson Health, Bayada, different types of providers that we support, but we sell mainly to hospitals and to Medicare Advantage plans while we represent this growing national care at home network of various providers. We bring those providers as well as our technology to these plans and to these health systems to be able to create a nexus around a patient so that they're able to receive care at home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll be quieter. You sell directly to the health systems, this not directly to like the at-home individuals.
Yeah, so we sell to the health systems, we sell to payers, Medicare Advantage specifically type of payers, and then we do charge some nominal fees or free fees to the providers like home care or home health as well so that they're on the network. We feel that everybody should have some kind of skin in the game, but we bring all those together. So if you use the $1 sign for the smaller providers, and then you use the bigger dollar signs for health systems and payers.
Great. And then in terms of user usage, understanding technology and our aging relatives, is there a button to hit where I can just talk to a human being or they can talk to a human being? Is that part of the platform?
Yeah, part of it. So what we do is we have different modules inside of the platform. Most of those are geared towards the providers themselves. So to the home health aide, to the social worker at a hospital, to the physician who's attending and making sure that the care is being provided. Family members are able to get in this conversation. So we try to create all of that in an experience that we call a rally and to be able to have everybody rally around that patient. Most of the time, it's not my dad. My dad will never, ever pick up a smartphone and use it. And so that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to enable this mobile workforce of home-based providers to be able to coordinate with each other. That's the main use case.
Great, thank you.
Great question.
Well, you have some great providers and obviously very impressive investors already, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
So how is the payment from insurance playing into this? Is this out of network and people are then submitting it, or what is to flex plans, but there's clearly not a coverage of this point. This is I would say it's a private expense.
Yeah, so there's different things that would kind of allow for this. Different sort of Medicare Advantage plans will allow you to cover different types of experiences on the home-based provider side. I think that with the pandemic, you saw a lot of different codes that allowed you to be able to charge based on it. The way that we charge our customers that are plans, though, is in a value-based arrangement. And so what we'll do is have people pay a per member per month fee to be able to use our technology. And then as part of that, they're able to really, in those value-based scenarios, get a bigger portion of shared savings coming back to them from the payer side specifically.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
I'm trying to be cognizant of time.
Kirsten Bronkovic, co-founder and CEO, Empath ED.
Hi there, good morning. Hi, my name is Kirsten Bronkovic, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Empath Ed. Empath Ed is an online education company that uses virtual reality, multimedia, and effective empathy to address the understanding of neurodiversity, disability, and mental health. Our vision is to be the standard for required training across all verticals. So what is an empath? An empath is one that can understand another person's experiences or feelings. Through virtual reality, Empath Ed can scale understanding and empathy. So what makes us unique? We take content that others in the training industry do not address, neurodiversity, disability, mental health, and approach it in a way that others definitely do not address. We provide someone else's perspective or navigation of an environment, taking research content and translating it into highly engaging experiences and put the user in the other person's shoes. Currently, we sell subscriptions to the platform to K-12 schools to train educators, and our next verticals will be healthcare and corporate. So what's going on in our first vertical right now? In the United States, students with disabilities are required to be educated alongside their non-disabled peers. Therefore, almost every non-special education teacher interacts with and is responsible for special education students. Special education students are getting left behind. Over half the states nationwide are failing to meet federal performance targets for special education. 2/3 of students with disabilities spend most of their day with general education teachers that are not trained in their diagnoses. So here's the good news. Empath Ed has the solution. We've created an online platform that fills that training gap, using short-form courses full of lively, animated segments, expert and student testimonies, research-based information and strategies, and immersive experiences that put educators in the seat of the student. One will experience how a student might feel. Our platform is like a Netflix or masterclass for every teacher in every school. Our micro-learning format not only mitigates cognitive overload, but supports long-term retention. VR learning is 275 times more effective when applying skills learned over traditional methods. The Empath Ed platform of courses can be accessed on your phone, iPad, laptop, with 360 video, or for more robust experience, a VR headset can be used. A few highlights: we have a national partnership with the Learning Disabilities Association of America, and we currently have a statewide pilot going on with the Easter Seals in the state of Arkansas. We're tied to a highly successful ecosystem of resources and have received both investment and grants. We're currently raising a $1 million seed round that we'll use for content creation, sales and marketing, and to enhance our platform. And our projections over the next few years, only considering our first vertical, by 2024, total income is projected at $13.5 million with a net income of $9 million. And as we add verticals, these numbers will definitely go up significantly. So our team is a perfect combination of skill sets to achieve success. Mark and Elliot deliver high caliber entertainment-like content and have done work for Kylie Jenner, HBO, Netflix, and Katy Perry. Sarah has over 20 years of experience in education and ed tech sales and partnerships, and I come from careers in education and executive recruiting, and I'm a 3-time founder. Our advisory board, as you can see, is very impressive. They're all experts in their field. Disability researchers, school administrators, TV and movie producers, and those with disabilities. Thank you, come aboard and be an empath.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I feel the burden that teachers have in our world today, and obviously adding another arrow in their quiver to help their students is vital. So thank you. I guess my question more so would be, have any of the students with the different abilities gone through the courses, and what's their take on the experience you've provided?
Yeah, sure, that's a great question. So our VR experiences are actually built in conjunction with those with the diagnosis. So it's a very iterative process with our VR developers that we take those with it, and they explain to us, it looks like this, it might feel like this is right, don't use this language. So it's very geared towards speaking for those with the diagnosis.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
In working with the schools, I know a lot of times, the school sets protocol for XYZ learning and enforces it the way they want to. Do you plan on rolling out sort of a teaching and learning curriculum for the teachers and kind of guiding them along the process? Because I don't know, but I assume that a lot of school systems aren't as familiar with some of these problems that you've highlighted.
Yeah, so the product is geared to train the teacher. So as far as, I'm sorry, so the question is to help the teacher
kind of
understand it?
How you're guiding them through the process, and maybe there's checkups or milestones where they're hitting targets or seeing results that they want.
Yeah, so we want to measure results in three ways. One is teacher confidence, and we're getting immediate feedback for that I think of the teachers that experienced our dyslexia course, 83% said they felt more confident walking into the classroom after taking our course. So we want to measure the teacher confidence, then we want to measure short-term effects for the students. Do the students with the diagnosis feel more successful, more heard? And then we want to measure 10 years down the line, how are these students progressing if their teacher in fact used our platform. So that's something that we intend on measuring. As far as checkups now, we just check in with our clients, see how it's going, and it's pretty much click and play to use the actual platform.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
And I love seeing a female CEO, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Matt Bilsky, founder and CEO, Flex Solutions.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Bilsky, an inventor turned contractor turned mechanical engineering professor. I founded Flex Solutions out of my own frustrations on the job site. Our team has spoken to hundreds of workers across the construction maintenance landscape. In their own way, they all describe the exact same problem. They can't get where they need to work and safely do what they need to do. Something I experienced firsthand as a licensed contractor and professional engineer. What we learned is that just like distribution has the last mile problem, inspection and maintenance has the last meter problem. Inspecting in places like above the ceiling, under the floors, dangerous places, confined spaces is difficult and dangerous. So people oftentimes are just not doing it. When they are, it can take up to twice the amount of workers and time. And if they're skipping it, then it can lead to cost overruns on the order of 20%. Our solution is the FlexBot. The FlexBot is a modular snake-like robot, 1 inch in diameter, that's designed to fit into tight spaces to inspect, map, and autonomously perform the required maintenance. Every FlexBot link is identical and packed full of sensors, including cameras and flashlights. Different end effectors can be easily interchanged on the robot, like spray nozzles, grippers, specialty cameras, you name it. And workers can combine different links as needed for specific tasks. Anyone can FlexBot. It's designed to be used without the need for specific training because it's a collaborative robot or cobot. A worker simply inserts it into the cavity, it detects all the obstacles, and then automatically avoids them. Imagine a self-bending coat hanger or fish stick that can kind of get in instead of having to keep jamming it in and fixing it. So here's an example use case learned from our construction partners. After buying an existing building, it's necessary to map and inspect the structure to plan improvements and identify deficiencies. The FlexBot can be used in the ceiling to map and visually inspect all the nooks and crannies, and even identify cables and pipes that are missing from existing plans. All the data collected could then be integrated into a building information modeling or BIM system, all without disturbing the occupants and damaging the structure. That's the power of the FlexBot. The FlexBot can also allow for next generation retrofits like our aerosol sealing in occupied structures. How about spraying foam where the insulation has collapsed or caulking windows without the need for ladders as scaffolding? And then uses for the FlexBot extend beyond the walls of a structure to the utility infrastructure connecting us. Workers can remain safely on the ground while still operating the FlexBot, allowing for previously impossible insights. At Flex Solutions, we're offering cutting-edge robotics at power tool prices, allowing them to actually be mass deployed across entire fleets. And since every FlexBot link is identical, users can add or remove links as needed for a specific job. We're playing in some multi-trillion-dollar markets like building construction, utilities, and infrastructure management, and we've received inbound interest from dozens of multi-billion-dollar companies who are excited to begin demos and pilots with this summer. Our launch market is the scanning of existing buildings to get that last 15% of data, and then we can expand to additional verticals across inspection, maintenance, and beyond. We've also partnered with Gensler, the world's largest architecture firm, Lamar AI, and Skyline Capital Builders to form the Unified Retrofits team. And we were just competing in the Department of Energy's $2 million eRobot prize for minimally invasive building envelope retrofits. And I'm really, really excited to share that as of a couple weeks ago, we learned that we are one of 3 winning companies who get to split that $2 million. So very excited to share that news. On good news, we were also awarded top honors in the 2021 Most Fundable Companies competition, in addition to participating in other highly competitive programs. So kind of our roadmap going forward here. This year, we're focused on pilots and early sales towards the seed round at the end of the year. This seed funding will allow us to go from early prototypes to commercial units, and then also develop the software needed for mass deployments. And then as we grow and scale, then we can move towards turnkey off-the-shelf sales in 2024. Our team has worked at leading organizations before joining Flex and are deeply passionate about solving real-world problems with cutting-edge robotics. And we have the help of great partners to get us there. Thanks for your time and looking forward to your questions.
Great, thank you very much. 2 quick questions from me. One, what does the data storage / transfer look like from the device to whatever else you're doing? And then also, is there any sort of repetitive revenue from the device?
2 great questions, and I think they're actually combined. And talking to a guy from Bentley Systems, which is exactly what you guys are focused on. Yep. So right now the notion would be that yes, we're looking to start at pure hardware sales because we have to get to scale. But then as we drive the price point down from thousands to hundreds, then it's really the data management. And whether it's white labeling and upselling existing systems, because there are a lot of players in the market. We don't need to reinvent, we can leverage these technologies. So the notion would be either use off-the-shelf cameras that integrate into your platform or work together. That data then goes up into the cloud. And then what we really hear is turnkey. These contractors don't want to have to pick between you and your competitors. Can we offer them, here's your problem, here's how we solve it, and all in one option, and then generate revenue going through there.
Great, it's super cool. Thank you.
No, it's clearly, and I guess my question was going to be how many products do you see yourself selling to like multiple projects? So it's one thing if there's recurring revenue for the actual one device itself, but how many, how wide it can be distributed within a project or within a contractor.
So like how many units do we see? Like, yes. So the large vision is one in every work truck. That really, one of the big costs that people don't talk about in contracting is something called truck roll. And we have folks from Comcast here, and we've worked with Comcast Labs and talking about this. If you have to go back a second time, that's a huge added cost. And working as a contractor, having that truck full of everything I need, and we get creative sometimes.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you're going digging through that random tool drawer. So that notion of driving this price point down to where we're hundreds of dollars, and then you can actually have it, then these people have what they need. So yes, you would start with the scanning technician, who's also great at early adopting because they're playing with iPads, they're playing with 3D scanners, so the barriers to entry are lower. And then again, as we scale and kind of get to that, crack it, figure out how to use it because it's intuitive, then we can have them kind of mass deployed across all these fleets.
Great.
I just have a quick question, actually. I think it's a really interesting product. Is there, I guess, a future roadmap with different applications or a different V2 of this?
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of the 2 ways to go. One is we've gotten inbound interest from everything from agriculture to ship inspection we were pitching TechCrunch, and the woman who was our handler was like, can you please do this for space? So there's all these next generation opportunities, and we've said, what's the basically lowest barriers to entry initial market, and that's where construction, real estate, and the scan to BIM is really a large opportunity. And then from a hardware front, we look at them as next generation opportunities. We have the ability for locomotion to climb through a wall, to climb through a duct, but we all drove ourselves here. So if a truck can't drive through Iowa on 80 autonomously, going through a 100-year-old home, to predicate our business's success on that. So the way we look at it is we can build a scalable, exitable business just with this scanning in different verticals, but then there are these reach for the moon that could be a Series A long shot of data monetization, mass deployed flex spots, big data, and then also self-driving and autonomy and locomotion.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Lisa Halpern, President and CEO, Innovision Medical.
Good morning. It is great to talk to faces instead of little boxes on a computer screen. So, my name is Lisa Halpern. I lead Innovision Medical Technologies, and we sell software that liberates data that's trapped inside of medical devices in the hospital. So, clinicians, they have a simple need. They want their medical devices to seamlessly communicate things like settings and measurements, waveforms, alarms to patient records, alarm management systems, central data warehouses, and decision support apps, and other medical devices in the hospital. And you would think in 2022 this would not still be a problem, but in fact it is. The reason for that is everybody wants this to work, but it's something that's a little bit difficult for anybody to work on. Medical device companies want to focus on the performance of their device. Healthcare IT companies that help hospitals move data, they want to move the data that they have. And the hospitals themselves, they want to help patients get better. So, how can we help? We supply ready-to-deploy software that enables connectivity in medical devices. Now, you can embed this software inside the medical device, or we sell a little box that you can hang outside the medical device that takes whatever proprietary data stream they have and translates it into something that can be understood by hospital data systems. All of our code anyone using our software can use our cloud architecture for data transfer from the device to wherever it wants to go. All of our code is standards compliant, cybersecurity, HIPAA, and the communication protocols that are increasingly being accepted as standard in medical device connectivity. Our code has been demonstrated to be best in class at IHE Connect-a-thons, where you connect different medical devices, and in evaluation at the Center for Medical Interoperability. So what we do is we enable a per-device solution for connectivity. Now, we don't have a lot of direct competitors in selling software to do this, but there are other ways to extract data from medical devices. Medical device manufacturers can invest their software resources in building a customized gateway for their instruments and ask the hospitals to deploy that gateway inside their IT system for their instruments. Of course, the hospital has to have a different one for each manufacturer. Another solution is to forego those development efforts and go to middleware companies that basically sell software that enables the hospital room to extract data from the medical device. But this has a big cost for the hospital customer in terms of investment in infrastructure to basically rewire the hospital for connectivity. So we offer a per-device solution that is scalable, simple, with a low barrier to entry, both for the supplier and for the user. Device connectivity is a very big opportunity. Interoperability is a hot button today in the medical world, and it's a market that's growing rapidly. We do have some initial customers. We are a high-margin software business where most of our revenue drops to the bottom line. We are raising funding to drive growth, to build a commercial channel to increase our customer adoption and to launch some of our new products which go beyond connectivity to help with smart data usage and deployment of connectivity with other high-value activities. In terms of exit possibilities for a company like us, certainly medical device companies who are interested in increasing their interoperability skill set, but more likely a software or IT company looking to grow their portfolio in the healthcare space. We have a strong leadership team that brings very complementary skills. Dr. Nader Habashi is an ICU clinician and as Chief Medical Officer. He keeps us focused on what's really important to those end user clinicians, which data, which devices. Eldon Metz brings a very deep experience in writing embedded code and in building cloud architecture. And he's a very important voice on the standard setting committees through IHE, which are setting the communication protocols for medical devices. As a matter of fact, today he's at an IHE meeting in San Diego, a big face-to-face. I bring about 30 plus years commercializing breakthrough medical device technology at successful startups. So, in summary, this is a large and growing market need for having medical devices speak and understand each other. We've got a strong, proven solution. We have a highly profitable business model, opportunities to expand our market in the use of connectivity and data, and we have the experienced core team to deliver. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know nothing about medical stuff other than when my mom was in the hospital, the nurses would come in with a slip of paper and write everything down. So you're saying we're getting rid of the paper?
We're getting rid of the paper.
I'm in.
We're having
Awesome.
that IV pump or dialysis machine or whatever it is talk directly to the medical record.
That's
no more
awesome.
little pieces of paper.
Great, thank you.
No, this is excellent. Great presentation. Thank you. And are you finding the need, is it coming from feedback from hospitals? And is that where you're sort of doing your casework because clearly these needs change, so.
Yeah, it's coming, the end user is ultimately the hospital. So they're the one that have the biggest pain. But they are very effectively transferring that pain onto the medical device suppliers in terms of saying, oh, and this new device you want to sell us, how does it deliver data to the EMR? So it's increasingly becoming a barrier to entry to innovative technology and a real push on the larger existing suppliers.
So then the medical device companies are your clients. You're selling to.
Yes, sorry, it's a little echoey. Yes, our go-to-market strategy is to start with the medical device companies, but we also have some end user, one of our first customers is an end user company that wants data from their ORs to feed into their curated anesthesia display.
Thank you.
So.
Thanks. I like how you explained how the in-house solution requires individual connection to each manufacturer and that itself establishes a competitive advantage. I guess how are you planning to keep that moat kind of going forward, and what's next in terms of development to sustain the competitive advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we play both sides of this a bit because the reality is the way the Internet of Things grows is in any market, and the way it has grown in the home market is agreement to certain standards. And anytime you have standards, theoretically, anyone can do it, right? So what our strategy is really, first of all, our head start in place, and second is promoting those standards and being the easiest way to achieve them. Because even though anyone can do it, if you're a medical device company and you're worrying about how well your ventilator performs, that's where you want to focus your resources.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Tracy Wilson Rossman, founder, Journal My Health.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Wilson Rossman. I'm founder and CEO of Journal My Health. 20 years ago, a car accident set me on a journey to diagnose, treat, and manage a chronic condition. It took me 3.5 years to be properly diagnosed and to find a team who taught me that my team had a lot of information and that if I could organize that information and communicate it well to them, I would help them help me. The problem is there's lots of information to track and organize. Each doctor, healthcare provider, medication, treatment, test, symptom, wearable device, insurance claim. There was only one person who was managing all of that, and that was me. I was the general contractor of Team Tracy. And I was the only person who was connected and communicating with each point. The thing is, I'm not alone. There's 133 million of us in the United States. Chronic conditions such as heart disease or diabetes or one of the 100 autoimmune issues are complex, hard to diagnose and treat, and they're expensive, eating up 84% of the US healthcare budget. As individual patients, we are generating reams of information about ourselves, and yet we're not able to take advantage of it. That's why I created Journal My Health. Information is power. Journal My Health puts the patient in the driver's seat, putting information easy to see and understand so that you can analyze the many factors influencing our daily health, but are normally overlooked. Sleep, symptoms, stress, menstrual cycle, and even the weather. It's a powerful platform that gathers in an integrated view. Reports and insights are created so that you can share easily and have productive conversations with your healthcare provider for better health outcomes. We're looking at two markets. The first is consumers. We love to work with those 133 million consumers who have a chronic condition, but we're focusing to start with the 20 million women who have autoimmune issues in the US. We're offering our product for free to grow our market as quickly as possible. We know that there's future revenue in data research and advertising. But we see a lot of promise in the business market. $236 billion is spent in the healthcare market worldwide on marketing. We want to use our platform to white label or use a SaaS model delivery. We have a superior tech product that has been customer road tested, and we can give these business customers data insights and in-app messaging to create closer relationships with their customers. There are competitive products in the marketplace, but we all have different business models, and none of the other competitors are offering their product in a white label situation to market for healthcare marketing companies. We have a team that has deep business and tech experience, as well as advisors who have strong startup growth and healthcare experience. Over the last year, we've been in both the Apple and Play stores with 8,000 downloads. And in the last month, since we've added the menstrual cycle tracker, and we're in the women's health market, we've seen significant increases in our downloads. And most significantly, we will be starting 2 pilots for the business market at the end of June. We've started a pre-seed friends and family round. We've raised half, and we're looking to use the other half of the money for further development and marketing to grow our customer base. Thank you very much. If you know investors or potential partners, please let us know.
Great, thank you. I guess my question is more about potential opportunities for your business in the future.
Sure.
Is an actual viable version of WebMD. Like of WebMD, right? Most people will use Dr. Google to try to figure out what their symptoms mean, as opposed to tracking their lifestyle and their habits, and then having the app return a result of, oh, maybe you have anemia and that's why you're so fatigued. Something like that. Is that potential in your plan at all?
Not at this time. What we would be looking at, first of all, is really creating more of, I'm using this word and I don't like it, but a health hub, so that as a patient, as an individual, I would have as much access to the information including insurance claims. So not just self-reported data, but all the wearable data, everything that's on your phone, so that I could get a one view. But then applying AI, machine learning, to create data insights. I don't want to be a medical prognostic.
Sure.
What I can't pronounce that word right now because I'm nervous, but we want to talk more about the individual and the information that they have. And that also gets us into like HIPAA rules, and I'm trying to stay out of there.
Understandable. Thank you.
No, this is great, and I clearly see a need from other, even personal situations I've had when you're trying to coordinate multiple doctors. But I was thinking, does it relate to something like a MyChart? I'm thinking of like Mainline Health. That's something that they'll suggest you log into, and then you can see all your data from. But that's just one hospital system, obviously.
Right, and the problem with MyChart is that on average, as somebody who has a chronic condition, you're dealing with 8 different doctors or healthcare providers, and they're all almost in every case in different MyChart situations. So you would be dealing with 8 different MyCharts. So I see us eventually working with the EMRs, but it's not something that we see as a right now case. And we really do see consumers are the end users, but we're hoping that working with healthcare companies from a marketing standpoint will be a closer path to revenue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Baines, founder and CEO, NerdWise.
Oops. All right. How many companies fail because they never figure out how to generate their own leads and have an effective lead gen and sales process? You don't have to raise your hands. I know it kind of hurts to think about, but this is a really important part of building any company. It's, I think, even more important than your product in many cases, particularly for B2B companies. In most cases, I've seen people try to hire to solve this problem and just hope that their sales team will figure it out. And most are left with a system that looks something like this. It's very costly in terms of the resources it takes to execute it, and it's incredibly inefficient for the folks that you hire when they're left having to, this is actually the one that I wanted. This is the process I was referring to, and it's incredibly costly and inefficient for reps who are spending their time researching prospects, doing unqualified outreach, and have very little support and data to work with. Winning sales teams have a system something like this in their organization, but it's not available to every company. This is very expensive. It takes a number of different technologies and resources. It takes a lot of expertise, typically a seasoned marketer who's done it once or twice. But with a system like this, you get a much happier salesperson, you get a much regular flow of leads, and you can kind of take control of your own destiny. So this is a system that NerdWise implements, and I'll tell you guys a little bit about it, but this is really why we exist. We're here to take companies from selling without data and without any type of holistic solution to a more data-driven and predictable pipeline where they have a regular flow of leads, they understand their conversion rates, and they're closing deals on a regular basis. So when we started NerdWise 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, the first thing we did was work on our sales process and prospecting system. I knew that would be the difference between life and death, would be getting in front of customers, having conversations, and starting to learn from the market. Very quickly, in a few years, we were able to get well over 500 companies, clients. We are bootstrapped, profitable. We're well over $1 million in annual recurring revenue now. And most importantly, we've created a solution that's helping our companies, our clients, become high-growth businesses as well. So on a per-person basis, we're helping these organizations have over 20 to 30 hours of selling time back for their sales teams each week. They're able to engage over 200 of their ideal clients and unique prospects per person per week. and they're seeing at least a 2 to 3x increase in qualified appointments. This is a prospecting system that we implement. It's also a prospecting system that most companies aspire to have in a high-performing fashion, or they've tried and failed. This system by itself does generate meetings and opportunities. It also generates a lot of intelligence and data on how the market is receiving your message, how it's responding to your sales outreach, and a lot of valuable data that can be leveraged to drive more business, more leads. So about 2 years ago, we launched our lead scoring software, which sits on top of our prospecting system. The lead scoring software, it identifies and tracks prospects who are not taking your meetings, they're not moving forward and converting immediately, but they're showing very high levels of interest in what it is that you offer. So it leverages a lot of that sales and marketing data, gives your reps both real-time alerts, daily digests, a dashboard to work from, and it takes the sales process from like deep sea fishing to shooting fish in a barrel. You get a much better use of your sales talent, much happier salespeople, a much more effective workforce. So this is a little snapshot of where we're going. 2 years ago, we launched our SaaS platform. Last month, we launched a free mobile version of it for our clients and for the marketplace at large. We've partnered with some of the biggest names in marketing automation and continue to add new integrations. So we're partners with ZoomInfo, Woodpecker.co for those of you who are using it. We're adding HubSpot Outreach. And just in this last month, we added so far, we're not done yet, but we've added $25,000 in recurring revenue and annual contracts with new customers. We have an incredibly predictable sales process using our own system and technology. The next phase of the business will be product-led growth. So by integrating our lead scoring application with more of these providers, we're solving a real problem for the sales reps, which is really not being addressed by Outreach and HubSpot and some of these other tools. And it really puts the intelligence and data in the hands of reps so they can be much more effective and do that shooting fish in a barrel activity. This is a snapshot of our team, me with short hair. And today I'm joined by Max Herman, our VP of Sales. So if you guys want to stop by and meet us after this, please do. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I was going to ask if you're eating your own dog food, which it sounds like you are. Is there any specific niche of sales that you assist with, like any specific type of business that you guys are more focused at yourselves now in terms of selling to?
The biggest theme among our customers tends to be smaller organizations who don't have the resources or the expertise in-house, but we have PE firms, financial advisors, software startups, Sandler training, we've got local franchises, and so this is a big problem for a lot of companies. Most people are shooting in the dark for their sales, and so a lot of people are looking for that turnkey solution. But on the smaller size where we are, we'll probably go up market, but we'll see where things take us.
Thank you.
So in your pipeline scoring, I guess, what type of criteria are you scoring on, and how are you getting the data to evaluate the pipeline potential prospects?
Great question. So it's incredibly contextual and almost like showing true intent of interest, because most companies have this type of prospecting system in place. If they don't, we provide that as a service and implement it for them. The data is actually based on sales outreach, so it's real-time alerts on a specific qualified prospect, like target client, that is engaging with your company at that moment based on sales outreach. So whether it be reading the same email multiple times, going to your website, going to multiple pages, coming back around to an email, those are a few of the data points, so website traffic and sales outreach engagement. We also have, with the mobile app, we now have the dialer as part of it. We're tracking calls and call data, and we're able to help the sales reps know when it's a good time to call these folks. And so there's a few different data points in there that we're leveraging, but unlike what is kind of traditional lead scoring, that's like a larger picture of how a company or an individual may or may not be interested, this is incredibly contextual to that sales rep that we're supporting and their prospects that they should be pursuing. So kind of the quicker they can respond to these alerts and these scores, the more productive they're going to be.
Great, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Suresh Natarajan, founder, New Mantra.
Hey guys, I'm Suresh Natarajan, founder of Numantra Technologies. So, Numantra Technologies is a SaaS platform for enterprises, small, medium, and large. Numantra Technologies platform provides AI-powered automation. And I want to take a step back on what is happening today in the market and versus where we see the market going. So in today's environment, enterprises are automating, but the automation is more restricted to processes within the organization that are commoditized. Where we see the future going is where enterprises are looking at automation from a business outcome standpoint. So where it's starting today is for processes that are already existing in the organization. Tomorrow's automation will be based on business outcomes that business users drive. So to that extent, what we are looking at is a platform which does hyper-automation. Hyper-automation is a combination of machine learning-driven automation. It has AI-powered models that define what the business outcomes would be, and based on that, the automation processes take place. So in today's market, what happens is automation happens based on defined processes that are already existing in the organizations. Where we see tomorrow's automation happening is where the business users see themselves based on the market demand, and from there, automation of their processes happens, and it's driven by AI-powered models. So that's the difference between, existing vendors versus us. So it has 4 different applications on the platform: process mining, RPA, ML/AI, intelligence and analytics. And this is again the same. These are some of the use cases that we expect businesses to use based on the platform. This is one differentiator that we provide in terms of ours is a cloud-native platform, whereas most of the applications that are existing on the market today is an on-prem Windows-based environment to automate Windows environments. Ours is a cloud-based automation platform. It's a microservices-based architecture, and it has its own data lakehouse solution where you can bring in data not only just for RPA purposes, but also for machine learning, ML/AI, and BI. So that's the difference between us and the existing folks in the market. Who do we sell to? We sell to both enterprises as well as OEM vendors. There are HR vendors there are educational tech vendors who are interested in our platform to use our platform for supporting some of their customer needs. So for example, we have an HR platform that's looking at supporting their customers in terms of onboarding, figuring out what the best onboarding process would be. Even though they have an HR platform, they don't have machine learning supporting that. So we provide that ability for them to be able to go to their customers and say, hey, we can let you know, which candidates would stick with you for the longer period of time based on the models that we develop for them and they can subscribe to. So that's a differentiator. The other is we are working with an online coupon promotion-based company that is optimizing their customers' processes based on algorithms that are developed on our platform. So this is our go-to-market strategy where we have OEM as well as technology strategy and a professional services strategy that we expect to implement. We are a very early stage company, and this is the team. I'm Suresh, and Naveen is here with me, and I have 25 years of experience in the SAP world, and so does Naveen as an entrepreneur, and Sachin is the other partner in the organization. This is where we see our revenue flow, and the numbers are based on 25 subscriptions for a large enterprise. these are some of the customers pipeline that we have. And Zing HR was one of the ones that I was talking about from an HR standpoint. And Riddle Labs is another company that we're working with in the educational tech platform. And Thrive is a Philadelphia-based company that we're working with in terms of promotions. So the ask is, we are a pre-seed, seed kind of a company, very small. And this is our ask. And whatever's funding has happened today has been out of pocket by the founders. So, any questions? Yeah.
Sorry, I did have a question. So if I understand, and I apologize if I'm minimizing what it is you do. This is how my brain works.
Yeah, sure.
So you guys come in and analyze what employees are doing, that you get access to everything and and you check and see all the workflows that they're doing, not just explicit processes, but just the things they happen to do throughout the day, and then you derive automated processes for them?
So that is one way of looking at it. So ours is a SaaS platform, so people subscribe to the platform. So if you're an enterprise, you subscribe to the platform, you have several number of users subscribing to the platform. Now, there's several different applications that are on the platform. So there's process mining, there's RPA, there's machine learning, and there's business intelligence and analytics. So everything is data-driven. So we have a lakehouse concept at the bottom of it, where we bring in data from the customers, and you can, as a business user, you don't need IT to be part of the solution. So in today's environment, you have IT vendors, IT skills that are needed in order for you to be able to automate a process. Where we are seeing the market go tomorrow is for the business user to be able to foresee a business outcome, develop AI models based on that, and then generate automation to support those AI business outcomes. So in today's world, it is starting from identifying what your processes are, where you see bottlenecks, changing the processes to it, and then automating it, and then thinking about ROI after that. What we are seeing our products being used as a business outcome is first, in the minds of the business user. He or she is developing AI models based on that, and then automating to support that.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, no, that's perfect. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, just, I guess, quickly, given the time. Given, how you mentioned it's personally developed and then automated, how much rinse and repeat type of ability do you see your product having across different enterprises, given different enterprises will have their own maybe unique work streams?
Good question. So any enterprise, whether it's small, medium, or large, is going to keep growing. So as new products are developed and new processes are developed within the organization, new users are going to be onboarded, and so that's, I believe, the growth platform for the growth engine for the platform. As we move and develop these more robust products on the platform, it not only allows you to automate existing processes, or also allows you to define new processes and automate them and develop intelligence to support that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Beaumont Log, founder and CEO, United Effects.
My name is Beaumont Log, and I'm really excited to be here to tell you all about United Effects. We are a technology platform that integrates disconnected products and data so that businesses can accelerate market opportunities. What does that mean? Well, to answer that question, let's talk about all of you for a second. In this room, we have founders, leaders, and investors of technology companies, including some pretty amazing ones that we just heard about. And each of you likely uses a mix of technology platforms to connect and enable your solutions. Our world is built on these platforms, built over many years with millions of dollars to connect our machines. And large enterprises use these connections to enable suites of connected products and experiences that make customer success easy and cross-sell effortless. And while some of the technology that allows these providers to succeed has been made commercially available, there is no single solution that's going to turn your great idea or your business into a platform of your own. You have to build it. So as your growth inevitably leads you to having to juggle multiple products, having to define a cross-sell strategy, or just struggling to scale your business to that next level of growth, how do you compete without a massive investment that actually slows your growth? Or if you're a startup and you're struggling to find funding to build or connect these enablement technologies, how do you do that without burning up your runway? Well, fixing this problem is what we do. We're UnitedFX, and our solution, Core EOS, is an enterprise operating system for everyone that will unleash your platform play in 2 minutes instead of 2 years. In one place, you can manage all of your users, leveraging all the best features, including single sign-on, multi-factor and passwordless authentication, social logins, even federated SSO for your customers, as well as centralize and take control of your user access, roles, and permissions for all of your customers across all of your products, all in a simple experience that is white-labeled to be your complete platform solution for your customers to use and self-manage without the need for any additional UI development from your engineering teams. And all of that is live and ready right now, but it's just the beginning. Right now, UnitedFX is also building what we call a data streaming storefront, as to be released by end of year as part of Core EOS, that will transform all of the data across your company into a searchable, monetizable data fabric for your business to stream, browse, or control in real time. When you connect all of your people and your data across all of your products, the possibilities are endless. You create opportunities for cross-sell, you speed up software engineering, you make innovation easier, you even create opportunities for analytics with machine learning and AI. And this is how you compete. What this means for you is if you're a high-growth, mid-sized company, you can address the fact that your siloed solutions are slowing your sales, engineering, and growth without diverting millions to a DIY solution that ultimately slows your own growth trajectory. If you're a startup, you can focus on your great idea and your competition without a massive upfront investment. Or if you're invested in multiple integrated solutions getting to market as quickly as possible, we can help you get those solutions out more quickly as well. Every major software company eventually realizes they need a platform. And we know that because between our founders and advisors, we have 185 years of experience building them across a number of industries. And I have my founders right here. They're the most amazing team. At UnitedFX, our mission is to build a platform one last time so you don't have to. And I know it sounds like a lot, it maybe sounds too good to be true, but I'm really proud to announce that today is actually our beta launch. So come to the demo table, check it out for yourself, and sign up today. And thank you for your time. I hope you join us on this incredible journey.
Thank you. That does sound like a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds really cool. So I work for a software company that is global, and we have enterprise-y things. What would it look like for us to onboard your solution?
Yep. So
in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Like I said, we're just getting started. So some of this onboarding is things that we're figuring out as we go. But basically, we would offer that consulting with you right away. But the nice thing is that we've built this with we piggyback on established interfaces. So you're likely actually using a lot of the interfaces that would be required, including just the basic REST APIs and OIDC login, things like that. So we would be able to piggyback off of that and make those transitions as quickly as possible.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I look forward to coming to see it and live at the table.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I look forward to coming to see it live at the table. That will be great to come see your demo, so we'll definitely do that.
I guess last question. In the competitive fit, where are you positioning yourself in the market, and how is your value prop going to win business from existing players currently?
Sure. So we're targeting pure SMB right now, and I think as we grow, there'll be an opportunity for larger enterprises. But in order to get there, I think we're going to need to build more connectors to sort of interface with existing competitors, actually. So when you think about our solution right now, it's sort of like that mix of Auth0, Okta, and maybe even a little bit of Boomi. And I think what we're offering is a new take on that, a different set of features that brings us together with a human focus that creates that experience. Because a lot of times you're buying these solutions, you're buying the APIs, and then you spend years building the screens and the interfaces that actually make them work. So you're buying half a solution. We're offering you a way to basically skip past that. And I think that's our competitive advantage. And also, obviously, we'll be, I think, at a very competitive price point for the foreseeable future, free. And then, we can move into paid plans from there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, well done. Bo, by the way, up in the ante with the demo world, like launching your product today. That's pretty impressive. Welcome to Forum Live. I'm Dean Miller, the President and CEO of PACT, and I want to first thank our judges who are going to be around today. And you got a tough decision, but yeah, the demo world participants are going to make it easy on you, I think, with all of the demos that are going to impress you and all of you. We are going to keep on going, and so I asked certainly the demo judges, you can step down and head out or just into the audience. And for the demo world CEOs, feel free to head to the engineering suite. If you want to stay for the opening kickoff, you can certainly do so. For the rest of you, captive audience, the rest of your folks are going to be joining here momentarily. And by the way, as you're leaving demo world, folks, just making the top 11 is impressive because it was a competitive process, and really excited to see so many cool companies and actually so many Mentor Connect companies. More on that in just a minute. So we're excited to be here with Forum Live, and we're running right into the first session. You're going to get a break in about an hour. Obviously, you can feel free to come in and out of the room. But we have a really awesome opening session. We're going to be joined by Peter Coffey, who, if you've never seen him before, does an incredible kickoff to Forum and has been doing so for the past decade. But before we do that, I would love to introduce and welcome our host, physical host this year, and that is the Chancellor of Penn State Great Valley. So please join me in welcoming Dr. James Nemes, Chancellor here at Penn State Great Valley.
Good morning, and welcome to Penn State Great Valley, and we're really proud to be hosting Forum 2022. I want to tell you a little bit about our campus. Penn State Great Valley was established in 1963 to serve working adult professionals and also to meet industry needs as a special mission graduate campus of Penn State University. And initially we were located in King of Prussia. We moved to this Malvern location in 1988 in the middle of a corporate park. And we're said to be the first campus in the country to be located in a corporate park. We don't know for sure whether that's true, but it's one of the things that we always say about us. Initially serving exclusively just working adults in the southeastern Pennsylvania region, our reach has certainly been extended. Our 7 online programs delivered through Penn State's World Campus reach students from around the country and beyond. And our campus has also become a destination of choice for students from around the globe who come here to get a Penn State graduate education. So over the years, our graduate programs in business, engineering, and technology have produced over 10,000 graduates. And our newest programs in data analytics and artificial intelligence in particular help prepare graduates to address the questions that are posed in the theme of this conference, Beyond Automation. Beyond providing excellent educational opportunities for our students, our faculty are advancing discovery through groundbreaking, industry-relevant research, and many of our faculty are nationally or internationally recognized researchers and leaders in their respective fields. But as a land-grant institution, we also recognize our commitment to serve our community, and whether that means serving the local business community through our professional and corporate development programs, or serving area residents through our Arts and Culture series, which attracts several thousand people every year to our campus. And as part of that land-grant mission, Penn State Great Valley has also had a long tradition of supporting community entrepreneurs. And going back even to our King of Prussia days, in 1987, Penn State Great Valley established the Penn State Technology Development Center as a very early incubator. But our commitment to entrepreneurship reached a new level with the creation of Invent Penn State, which has established now 21 innovation hubs across the Commonwealth. And we were fortunate to be an early part of that initiative, and in partnership with the Chester County Economic Development Council, we launched what was originally established as the Rev Up Center for Entrepreneurship in 2016, and now as the Great Valley Launchbox. We support early stage community and student entrepreneurs in taking their business ideas to the next level, whatever that level might be. Like PACT, we believe that the key to economic development is support for entrepreneurship and innovation. So let me conclude again by welcoming you to our campus. We look forward to exploring ways that we can work together in the future. And here's to a successful conference. So I'll turn it back to Dean.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. All right, thank you, Dr. Nemes and Penn State. I also want to recognize and thank many of our sponsors. We've got a terrific group of sponsors. In particular, I want to start off recognizing our presenting sponsors, Nexanet, a global leader in digital transformation, and Fairmount Partners, the leading technology-focused investment bank, partnering with top companies globally. All right, for anybody new to Forum, it is a fast-paced day focused on the leading edge of enterprise technology. And our theme this year, if you haven't seen, is Beyond Automation. We have some incredible speakers lined up, and we guarantee you, that's right, we guarantee you actionable insights that you can take back to your own companies and implement. We just saw 11 terrific Demo World companies. These companies are available for live demos, by the way, in the engineering suite. We'd encourage you to right off the lobby, head there throughout the day to check out your favorite, or maybe even all 11. We also invite you to visit our showcase sponsors that are lining the lobby outside. Please again visit them throughout the day as well. And one last reminder, your agenda has both Wi-Fi instructions on it if you feel you need it, but it also has a QR code that you can use to download the app. And I'd encourage you to do so. It has all the attendees, it has speaker bios, it has the agenda. If you just want to have a digital version of that, download that app. Again, QR code in this physical piece, or see somebody out front. All right, it is time to start the conference. And backed by popular demand, but this time virtually, is Peter Coffey. Peter Coffey is a longtime partner of PACT and Forum. He is Salesforce's Vice President of Strategic Research and really a globally recognized leader in digital transformation and automation. And we are going to be joined by him virtually to kick off the conference. Please tee up Mr. Peter Coffey.
Hi, I'm Peter Coffey with Salesforce, and not for the first time, it's my privilege to be among the first to welcome you to yet another great Forum conference. I'm probably not the only one who has trouble believing that it was 10 years ago that we did the first of these events, but every year we find a fresh set of axes around which to spin our views of the interplay of capital, technology, and everyday practice that make the things that we're going to be talking about not just products or services or investment opportunities, but really the changing environment in which we get stuff done, in which we live and find healthcare and education and govern ourselves and just really change the environment of life. This year, we're talking about the concept of being beyond automation. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about going beyond because, candidly, I'm concerned about the degree to which we hear conversations these days about going back to normal. There are two things wrong with that phrase, the word back and the word normal. We're not going back. We've accelerated through and into a world where expectations of convenience, availability, the digital enablement of a more interesting and engaging experience are things that people have learned they can have, and they're not going to give them back. The use of digital engagement by demographics that may have been slow to adopt it before, the degree to which everyday tasks like grocery shopping are now something where we expect to order online and pick up at curbside instead of wandering around the store. Both the big and the small aspects of daily life are changing in ways that are going to be durable. It's also going to change the way we work. The number of jobs that used to be understood to be show up, be at a desk 9 to 5, where now we're talking about work from anywhere, work at any time. This is a challenge for individuals, for teams, and for organizations to find ways to make this not a means of fragmentation, but a means of collaboration, to build intentionally the kind of corporate cultures that used to just arise as a side effect from spending time with each other all day. These are things that are going to require conscious, intentional engineering, and I mean that in a positive way, not in a manipulative way. Then, as I said, the other word that's a problem is normal. We're not arriving at a new norm by any measure you care to use. The International Monetary Fund's World Uncertainty Index, the Federal Reserve Board Geopolitical Risk Index, frequency and intensity of cyber attacks, climate challenges, the things that are happening in Eastern Europe as we speak. It should be clear that the number of emergent phenomena of interactions of things that might individually be understandable, but whose interactions turn out to be unpredictable and complicated, this is something that technology has to help us do in ways that are not automation of what we know and repetition at scale, but rather adaptation and resilience. Now, automation works great in environments that are characterized by the Air Force Air Combat Model called OODA, Observe, Orient, Decide, Act. That loop is often drawn in a very simple way. In real life, it's a little more complicated. Observations may be affected by noise or error. Orientation may be blocked or slowed by preconceived ideas of what does and doesn't work from past experience. Decision and action are sometimes challenging to make happen in real organizations or in real world environments. But even so, all OODA loops have in common the idea that you're up there in the air and you can see what's coming at you, that before it starts shooting at you, you at least have a chance to know that it's there. The Army War College is a different model because when you're out there in the jungle, someone may be shooting at you before you even know they are there. Their acronym is VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. I think many of us will respond to the idea that the world we live in is maybe more characterized by VUCA than by OODA. What does technology have to do for us in a VUCA environment? Well, for one thing, acceleration is sometimes a matter of just doing the same thing faster. Sometimes it changes what you can do and not merely how quickly. If a 24-hour forecast takes 25 hours to produce, it's not very useful. If you can get it in 25 minutes, well, you'll probably do that every day. What if you can do it in 25 seconds? Maybe now you'll start generating dozens or even hundreds of different scenarios, and now you can have an optimization behavior instead of just a satisfying behavior. Quantum computing is one of the technologies that's going to make that happen, and in fact, already is. Algorithms inspired by quantum computing approaches are already doing things like shrink the time for grocery shelf restocking from something that can barely be done in time for a daily cycle to something that's now done literally in just a matter of minutes and makes it possible to do, as I said, optimization rather than mere satisfaction of criteria. And quantum computing is going to be applied in domains ranging from grocery shelves to energy production. It's going to challenge the way we do information security, but it's going to require us to be thinking now about the models we'll build, about the skills we'll have to produce, the pipeline of talent for people who can program in a way that's genuinely different from the way we've been thinking about computer programming for several decades. Part of this is our thinking about the role of AI-derived techniques. I tend to avoid the phrase artificial intelligence because artificial is never a compliment, and intelligence is always an ambiguous idea. Ever since the 1950s, when the phrase was first introduced, it's been about building an artifact that in most cases does a mediocre job of replacing a person. But what we're seeing now, with the power that's available, with the data that's available, is that we can build systems that interact with people rather than replacing them, that in situations like, for example, America's Cup yacht racing, a complexity of problem solving that is literally orders of magnitude greater than that of Go, the board game that's often held up as one of the leading examples of a complex problem. When a simulator was built to provide the world's most elite competitive sailors with opportunities to test some of their ideas, it turned out that the machine intelligence that was associated with that simulation facility started generating novel strategies. And the world's most elite competitive sailing crews started studying the behavior of that machine intelligence, and that interplay between the two is far more exciting than merely using the machine to do a bad imitation of a person. But this calls for a different way of designing and deploying and evaluating machine intelligence compared to what's been held up as the standard for literally the past several decades. A lot of this does have to do with the sheer quantities of data. You're probably not familiar in everyday terms with the prefix zeta or 10 to the 21, but in 2012, we had maybe about 1 zettabyte of data in the world. In 2020, more than 40. This growth of volume and complexity and speed of data requires us not to have a better, faster version of the old data processing. We have to start thinking about data as a tool for illumination rather than just recording. We have to start being familiar with concepts like differential privacy and many other aspects of data governance that are going to be required as this data starts to be tied more to personal lifestyle and other behaviors, and not just to things like money and logistics. To scale these kinds of things requires that we have a different architecture for our solutions. If you have n different sources of data, then you have n squared minus n over 2 ways to connect those sources and sinks of data. Well, that gets out of hand quickly as you move from mere dozens to hundreds or even thousands of interacting nodes in a data network. You have to move beyond that quadratically growing complexity with a more linear model based on repurposable APIs, based on componentization, based on well-defined interfaces. And again, they have to meet increasingly stringent criteria for security, reliability, traceability, governability. What I'm also concerned about is that the ease of doing some things creates a downhill water running path towards some things that maybe are not as useful as they ought to be. The phrase that comes to my mind is that technology begins by creating a new scarcity, something that was never there before that now a small number of people can for the first time ever have, but then quickly democratizes that scarcity by making that power available at low cost in discoverable and usable ways. When I see something like NFTs and some of the other things that are discussed in the context of so-called Web3 environments, one of the tests I apply is this creating new capability for people in general, or is this creating a new playing field of a completely artificially generated scarcity that merely magnifies inequalities in the world? I think one of the mandates of VUCA World is that we have to look at technology initiatives, not in terms of whether they can be done and therefore should be, but whether they can take us in directions of reducing rather than amplifying inequalities and scarcities in our environment. Now, getting this done is sometimes easier than getting people to stop doing what they've been doing. As Peter Drucker said, if you want something new, you have to stop doing something old. Well, getting an organization to let go of established practices, getting people to let go of hard-won skills, that used to be something that happened on scales of decades. Now it happens on scales of years or even shorter time scales than that. Being a technologist used to be primarily about proving that something could work and then making it available. Now, increasingly, it's going to be about the almost anthropological task of asking people to let go of the familiar. And that's not something that comes naturally to most people. It's something that being a technology change agent is increasingly going to require us to develop skill and aptitude in doing. I appreciate always the chance to be part of setting the context, putting the frame around the picture, if you will, of what a forum conference can represent. It's a unique event in my experience. It's one that I've been associated with in almost every one of its annual instances. And I so appreciate the chance to examine my own thinking on these subjects. I hope it's been able to add something to your experience. And I want to thank our hosts at the Philadelphia Alliance for Capital and Technologies for this annual opportunity to think about what's emerging in technology and how it's going to affect all of us. Have a great forum.